Welcome to the Epilogue Lady podcast. I'm not going to give this episode a number because it's basically not a podcast episode. Things have sort of calmed down a bit, and I know that starting beginning of next year things will calm down even more, so I'll probably start podcasting again, but not in a set schedule. When I have the time, I will do an episode. But this is sort of my version of this year's Vlogmas. I'll just do this one episode. I haven't even put on makeup. I haven't put on anything special when it comes to clothes. I put on makeup Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays for work, and I decided that I wanted my skin to breathe today, so no makeup. Starting early February, I will be on call at the shop instead of working 3 days a week. So that's why I think I'm going to have a bit more time for podcasting and crafting in general. I've started to get my knitting mojo back, but I haven't got all the time in the world for knitting, so I don't have a lot to show for it, and I'm basically exhausted when I'm not at work. It's better now than it was, but I think it's because I'm getting used to it. I started this episode with a lot of babble. So, welcome back, I guess. If you think the lighting isn't all that, I have to use, actually it's more of a night light. Instead of my, I just had to check the viewfinder, instead of my ring light, because I haven't used the ring light for ages, and turns out I did not put the cable for the ring light in the box with the ring light, so that cable is somewhere around here and I got tired of looking for it. So I decided I'd rather record with inferior lighting than keep looking for it. So hopefully it shows up. It's sort of moody lighting this though, so it works for Vlogmas, I guess. What am I going to start with? I could start with my advent calendar, because this year my advent calendar is a fiber advent from Ulveig. And the Fluff to Stuff make-along is of course still going. I'm going to send out prizes in the beginning of January. And where I was going with that is, if you too have a fiber advent and you manage to spin up the fiber, so you have spun up all 24 fibers before Christmas or before the New Year, because New Year's Eve is the deadline for the Fluff to Stuff. You can enter that for a prize, because I know you haven't made anything with it, but it's sort of a commitment to spin a little every day in December. So that's good enough for a project in that make-along. I devised a plan for how I was going to do this, because I decided, since I have the mystery calendar, that means 24 days of any color, any fiber. I didn't want to make one long single and then ply it with something else like I did last year. But last year I had 24 days of the same color. So this year I'm making 24 tiny little skeins of hand spun. And this is how far I've gotten with day one. I put this on the Niddy Noddy this morning. The light isn't too good today, but this is a Christmas red. And I plied day 2 this morning, and it's more of an orange. And day 1 was 100% merino, I'm pretty sure. Yesterday's, day 2, has, I think it's silk, some neps in it. I think that's silk. And I haven't spun up today's yet, both because I wanted to get this recording done, but also because it's so pretty as it is. It's a vibrant green. It's not as yellow as it looks in this lighting. I miss my ring light. And it's got a cute little stitch marker on it, and this has glitter in it. So this is going to be a fun spin. So I'm spinning that up as soon as I'm done talking to you, and my camera suddenly got dark. This is a laid-back, low-effort episode. I'm not going to bother with... Hopefully you're happy to see me. I also have a tea calendar from Pukka that I got in the shop where I work, and I have a Bylo licorice calendar that I'm sharing with hubby because I bought the double one, so there's 2 tiny little licorice balls. The chocolate cover licorice balls. I didn't want that to sound rude. I'm being a child. And I made my own yarn advent. I've been talking about this both on the podcast and on the Instagram, but if you haven't heard, Beehive Yarns did a mystery bundle, 6 minis in each bundle, and it was a really agreeable price, so I ordered 4 of them throughout autumn, so I had 24 minis in December. And because I knew how, and she bundled them, it's color coordinated, the 4 bundles. And I started the Go Throw by Amba O'Brien, and you cast on 1,000,000 stitches and you knit it, and I realized when I had started it that all the decreases in the lace pattern are done from the wrong side, and you have to purl 2 together and then slip, slip, purl. And if I was going to knit every day from now until Christmas, doing a purl 2 togethers, that's not a big problem, but slip, slip, purls, and over more than 250 stitches, no. So I frogged that and went with the original plan, and that was the Radvent throw. And that's 24, that consists of 24 squares. And these are the 2 I have done. And this is today's, so this is what I'm knitting later today. My blanket is going to be smaller than Amba's from the pattern, because she knits hers with a 4mm needle. I want my blanket to be a bit more dense, so I'm knitting mine with a 3mm needle. So it's going to get smaller, but I have quite a bit of yarn left. I have 7 to 8 grams, between 6 and 8 grams left on each ball when I'm finished, so I've been thinking about maybe doing a row of crochet around it and use up all the colors that way, or I'll just knit myself a pair of scrappy socks, or I'll just make a magic knot ball of all 24 colors and crochet them into a linen stitch scrappy blanket I'm working on. I might just do granny squares. I'll do something with them, but I don't want to use up everything. I don't want them to add to my already hefty scrappy collection. I could of course save them and use them for an scrappy advent for someone next year, but it's less than 10 grams, so I feel like 10 grams sort of is the minimum of what you can have in an advent if you're giving it to someone. So those are my advent projects. I have one more advent project because it's supposed to be finished by Christmas, because it's hubby's Christmas present and he knows what it is. He has tried it on a couple of times. And it is the Gib 2, I think it is, by Andrea Mowry. And I'm knitting this inside out. As soon as I split for the sleeves, I turned it inside out, because there are more pearls than knits in the pattern. So I turned it inside out, because that would go much faster, and my hands don't like too much purling. I haven't got a yarn band here, but it's Hillesvåg Embla. And I can put the color number on screen, because I wanted to try there. I suddenly realized something. I'll take a break and I'll be back. And I'm back, just in time for the spin cycle to start on the washing machine. Hopefully the noise isn't too bad. I could of course wait with the recording until after the spin cycle finished, but I have lots to do today, so I want to finish the recording. I had to go get something, and then I could just as well pick up a skein of this. It's Hillesvåg Embla. It's a worsted weight. It's 210 meters, it says, to 100 grams. So it's a light worsted, but it works really well for the sweater I'm knitting. Because when I was talking about Hillesvåg, I remembered something. I'm doing a sweater spin. I had to move you a bit. I'm doing a sweater spin with fibers from Hillesvåg, because they dye the fibers and then they spin the yarn. And they sell the fibers as well as the yarn. And I've started a sweater spin in this gorgeous color. I ordered 500 grams, and I have to show you this. I've taken off half of it, but it arrives in a blanket. So 500 grams of fiber in one solid blanket of sorts. So I've just ripped off half of it. So I'm doing, but what I am doing, I'm filling up a bobbin and I'm weighing that bobbin, and then I fill up a second bobbin and I weigh that, and then I apply them. And I'm going to keep on doing it like that. I get bored easily, so I had no problem putting that one aside to do the advent. But what I was going to say, because I loved the fiber from Hillesvåg so much, and they have all the colors, all their yarn colors you can also buy in fiber. So what I did, and it's really nice prices as well. So what I did, I ordered 3 100-gram bats, I guess you can call it, in 3 different colors. Instead of getting them out of their hiding place, I'll just pop up the picture I took for Instagram, and these 3 are prices for the fluff to stuff. And you know when you can add a note, a message to your order, and I just wrote to them that this is going to be prices, and could you please insert a label or something, because my fiber just came in a box with no logo, no label, no nothing. And they put in some cute cards with the logo on and the story of Hillesvåg on the back, in the back. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to translate that into English and put that with the fibers, so you can read what it says. Snape has found something interesting on the floor. Snape has been really sick, by the way, but thanks to our local vet clinic and some tender love and care, he is about back to normal. He has to have a shot every month for the rest of his life, and he has to have particular food that we have to put medicine on, but he's going to be fine, hopefully. It was touch and go there for a bit, but he's back to his normal zoomies, and he's talkative and everything, so I think he's his old self, and now he's lying there staring at me and probably wondering what I'm doing. I was going to talk about something when I remembered the Hillesvåg stuff. Probably wasn't important. I did a walk. I walked around the shop a bit, a part of the shop, because I wanted to show you our Christmas section, because I really love it, and I'll probably be putting that up here while I keep talking a bit, because we have all this sort of Norwegian style Christmas decorations in wood and muted colors, and I really like this minimalist sort of cottagecore Christmas decorations. I'm not too keen on the American Santa Claus and all the glittery stuff, and I think it overpowers when you have a small apartment like we do. I think it's too much, and in our apartment, the Christmas tree is the star of the show. The Christmas tree is full of baubles in pink and yellow, pink and gold and red, and that's sort of the main attraction. I don't have a lot of decorations anywhere else. I have tiny little nisse, as we say in Norwegian. You would call them gnomes, perhaps, all over the place, hiding, sort of elf on the shelf in the kitchen, and I have an angel in the hallway, and I have special curtains for the kitchen with a star. I put that up December 1st. The lights outside I put up in November because it was so dark and we didn't have any snow, and that's the saddest part of winter, is when it's cold and dark and you don't have snow. But now we have snow on the ground. It's supposed to warm up again, so this snow may not stay. I was also thinking about postponing my Advent project, the knitting one, until January, because I'm working Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays throughout December. I'm even going to work once between Christmas and New Year's. And I was thinking, no way I'm going to manage to knit one of those squares and spin one of these every day, because these I'm not only having to spin this, I'm also having to ply yesterday's and put the day before that on this, and tomorrow I have to skein up this one, put this on the niddy noddy, ply this and spin up tomorrow's. So I start my day at the wheel because it's a nice way to sort of wake up. I have my coffee cup within reach and I spin up. Today I actually plied yesterday's instead of spinning because I wanted to show you the fiber. And I hopefully can manage to do both that and the plying before I have to go to work, because I start work at 11 AM. So it's I have some time in the morning. I don't know how many meters this is. I think I'm just going to... I'm not, of course, not going to measure all of them. And I also think the wraps per inch is going to vary, because this day one is a merino, so it's sort of even, nice and even. Yesterday's is a bit more thick and thin because of the silk, and today's might also become thick and thin because of the glitter, so it won't be consistent. But hopefully it will be, everything will be no thicker than a sport, so I can use it all in one project, because that's the plan, at least. I want to use everything in the project so I can... I was thinking about doing one of those granny squares when you start in the middle and you just use magic knot and you keep going. And it becomes as big as it is when I'm finished. I'm not sure how big it's... At the end there won't be enough for a complete round, so it's not going... I'm not sure how it's going to look. It would be nicer maybe if I did stripes. I'll see, but I want to crochet a project in January where I use all 24 minis. Not looking forward to rinsing all 24 minis and thwacking them, and I started snapping my handspan instead of thwacking it. It does the same job. I'm so sorry about the lighting, by the way. That's what I could manage in this short notice. But again, if you're calling this a Vlogmas, it's normal for Vlogmas to have sort of iffy lighting, because I've never never dug out the ring light for Vlogmas anyway, only for podcast episodes. And maybe I find the cable at some point, so I actually have proper lighting when I start doing podcasts again in the new year. Maybe it shows up when I'm clearing out for Christmas. Only thing is, I have a strong suspicion that it is somewhere in our bedroom, and that I'm not tidying for Christmas. I never do. Basically it gets more messy for Christmas, because everything that's anywhere else gets carried into the bedroom to be out of sight. And I'm staring at a box on the floor. I have to tell you, it's partly tale of woe, but I'm also pleased with the outcome, because we had this, our coffee grinder started to get worn out. It produced uneven coffee, so we decided to buy a new one. And we bought one that was supposed to be best in test, if you know what I mean. And I hated the thing. It was messy to use. I had coffee all over my kitchen counter. It was fiddly, and it wasn't. We use a French press and an espresso machine, so I need both French press grains and espresso. And the new thing, when I put it on espresso, it became like flour. So the espresso machine wasn't able to press the water through it even. So, and when I put it on the coarsest grains possible, so-called French press grains, I got something that was too fine for the French press, but was actually able to use it for the espresso machine. So I sort of got fed up with the whole thing, and I ordered an identical coffee grinder to the one we used to have. It's exactly the same, and it's high-end because it's a particular design, and I have this thing about that particular design. It's called Bodum, and I have a Bodum kitchen machine, sort of a Kenwood. And I have a knife block from them. I have a French press from them. This is Bodum, and so it's more expensive because of that. But it was actually on a Black Week special. I'm not a fan of Black Week and Black Friday because I think it leads to overconsumption, but when it's something I need. So I got it for cheap, about a 30–40% discount actually. And now I have the exact same coffee grinder. It's a bit different because it's a newer model, but it's the exact same basically as the one we had. So now I get proper espresso and proper French press coffee, and it's a delight because we order Starbucks espresso beans, and I don't want to ruin them with a coffee grinder that doesn't do what I want it to do. But it's still a new coffee grinder, so we put it in the box, and hubby is going to take it to work with him and ask if anybody wants a free coffee grinder. We're going to give it away. We're not going to sell it because we used it. So there's coffee grounds in the grinder itself, and I told hubby instead of dismantling it to clean it out completely, we just give it away. So he's going to take it to work with him and ask if anybody wants a new coffee grinder. So that's the story about the coffee grinder. And speaking of coffee, I'm going to make myself another cup when I'm finished this recording. And I'm going to spin up today's fiber before I edit this, because I have all day. Hubby's doing a meeting today. I think it's the UN day. I have to check. Just a moment. I just needed to double check something. Hubby is the leader of the local council for people with disabilities, and they are having an event today because December 3rd is the UN Day for people with disabilities. I just had to check that I had the date straight, but he's been talking about it. He's leading the thing, so he's kind of been a bit nervous about that because it's the sort of the biggest event he's been responsible for. So he's not coming back until late today, so we have all day. My son has the day off, so we have sort of made dinner plans. I'm not going anywhere with the car today, so we have to eat what we have in house. So I think it might be sort of an eclectic dinner, but it's not like we're going to starve or anything. So I finished off my coffee. So I think I'm going to make myself another cup of coffee, not one of those big French press things. Hubby starts his day making a full French press what do you call them? French press? The word escapes me. But anyways, you get 2 of these. And he makes the coffee, and he takes one of these with him, and the other one he leaves on the kitchen counter for me. And when I finish that, I'm going to make myself an espresso, and I prefer Americano. So that's what I do. I just add boiling water and I have an Americano because that's my favorite. Sometimes I make myself a cappuccino or a latte, but normally I just want the coffee. And because it's Advent, I might have a biscuit with it. You would call them cookies in the US. If I say biscuit to you, you probably think of something completely different. But I'm thinking biscuit. So I don't think I have a lot more to talk about. The life stuff has been mentioned. So I don't think I have anything else. I'm going to bake a bit for Christmas. This turns into an epilogue probably. And one of the things I'm going to make is Lord Eshteross's ginger maple cookies, or is it maple ginger cookies with turmeric? From the Critical Role cookbook. And I think it's called Exquisite Exandria or something. So I might record a bit of that. Or I might not. I'm making a double portion this year because it makes 12 cookies. And that's not enough because they are so insanely tasty. So I'm making twice the amount this year. I promised my youngest son because he really, really loves them. And they're amazing. And that recipe is actually online. You haven't got to have the book to make those cookies. So I'll link that recipe down below if you want to try them. I really recommend them. They're really, really good. I need some more maple syrup first because I don't have enough for a batch of cookies. That's the thing I use my maple syrup for. I use it when we rarely do, but sometimes I make American style pancakes for breakfast. And I have maple syrup on those. And I use it for the Eshteross cookies. So I need more maple syrup. And I'm also baking the same stuff that I do every Christmas. Besides that, I'm not sure I'm doing biscotti this year or coriander cookies because I'm working 3 days a week. I don't want to use my weekends just for baking and nothing else. So to lighten the workload a bit, I'm going to dial back on the baking. And apart from my youngest son, neither hubby or my oldest son are big fans of cookies anyway. So I think I might be able to just do the Lord Eshteross cookies and some vanilla cookies that my youngest is a big fan of. And of course the kamkake. And that's it. 3 different kinds of cookies for Christmas this year. And the rest I can buy in the shops because the shops sell all the traditional Christmas cookies. So I don't have to bake anything if I don't want to. So that's sort of it. And that became the epilogue. So I'll see you probably one more time before Christmas. I want to do a short Vlogmas sort of episode in front of the Christmas tree. As soon as I put that up. And that I won't do until the 3rd Sunday of Advent. That's when I put up my Christmas tree. So as soon as I've done that, I'll record one more episode before Christmas. So I can wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and everything. But that's... now I'm going to have another cup of coffee and spin today's fiber. And I'll keep you posted on Instagram, I guess. So if you follow me on Instagram, you get pictures. And my Instagram handle is Arctic Crafts if you haven't seen me before. If you haven't seen me before, welcome to the madness. And the normal podcast will resume in the new year on not a regular schedule, but the first episode will be in February, I guess. So I'll see you later in December. And I hope you have a really nice Advent until then. And I'm going to try to find my cable so I have proper lighting for the next episode. See you later. Bye bye.